This past Friday, on all WWE's social media platforms, WWE announced that WrestleMania 43 in 2027, excuse me, would be taking place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. This has sparked a lot of controversy over the last 72 hours since that Friday. This has sparked this has sparked controversy on so many different levels. But the question is why? Well, well, there are multiple reasons for the controversy. First and foremost, if you guys watched Worlds Collide this past Friday, immediately following SmackDown, then you will know that the fans inside the arena for Worlds Collide were all chanting "You sold out." This was a resemblance to the idea that WWE initially wanted WrestleMania 43 to take place in either the Caesar Superdome in New Orleans or Wembley Stadium in London, England. In fact, I believe it was supposed to be inside Wembley. That was where it was supposed to take place. However, reports have found out that WWE was paid a shit ton of money to put WrestleMania in Riyadh. This was by far probably I wouldn't say the worst decision, but a decision that most people didn't like, including the superstars that actually attended the event, the 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 press conference from Friday, which included superstars like Logan Paul, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, who we had not seen in a few months, one half of the women's tag team champion Charlotte Flair, and the current world heavyweight champion Seth freaking Rollins. Triple H's expression wasn't too pleased, to say the very least. In fact, even he himself, I'm sure, wanted WrestleMania to be in either New Orleans or Wembley Stadium. The one thing that I've always been so not fond of, but found PLEs in Riyadh in the kingdom of Saudi Arabia being to be so unique is the fact that for the last few years, WWE and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have actually allowed women to make an appearance on their big shows. And obviously, you guys are well aware that the partnership with WWE and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia dates all the way back to 2018 when WWE hosted its very first show called the Greatest Royal Rumble. That was where, excuse me, that was where we saw the first ever 50-man Royal Rumble match to where Braun Strowman eliminated Big Cass to win the whole match. And apparently he's still the champion. Undefeated, mind you. Longest reign in history, right? Jokes aside. Since then, WWE has hosted more than a dozen PLEs in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, including the Greatest Royal Rumble, Super Showdown, Crown Jewel, Night of Champions, and of course King and Queen of the Ring, where obviously last year's King and Queen of the Ring, we saw Gunther and Nia Jax win their respective tournaments, went on to SummerSlam, and went on to win their respective championships. This year, Cody Rhodes and Jade Cargill won the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments, but only Cody walked out of SummerSlam champion. the controversy is the fact that for those who don't know, and I know, and this is more of a historic lesson, I guess so to speak. But for those who don't know anything about the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and anywhere that's in the Middle East, if my memory serves right, and I don't know, if I don't remember much about it, but if I remember right, I believe the rule was that the men were the man of the house, meaning that whatever they said, the women had to follow. I believe that was the case. So the fact, and also I believe women had to be completely covered from head to toe. I believe that was the rule. So the fact that the fact that WWE is hosting WrestleMania in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, again, as I stated, has sparked a lot of controversy, because apparently nobody wants WrestleMania to be in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, because of the fact that WWE has already hosted shows like Crown Jewel and um Night of Champions in Riyadh, and we also found out that this upcoming January, WWE will be hosting the Royal Rumble in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which a PLE like the Royal Rumble is fine, but WrestleMania as a whole is literally a whole nother level. It's a level beyond the Royal Rumble, a level beyond SummerSlam. Like it's something that has to be special, and the fact that they chose to do it in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, again, from the eyes of the entire WWE universe, myself not included. I repeat, not included. Everybody's not too happy about it, because of the fact, again because of the fact that the fact that the female talent have to be completely clothed, to which a lot of the to a lot of the male fans who or who are huge fans of women like Roxanne Perez and Stephanie Vaquer. Yeah, they're gonna have to get used to it. But I will say, I think it'll be a unique opportunity, because if I remember correctly, WWE President Nick Khan said in a recent interview, I think within the last 6 to 9 months, I believe, he said that there was no shot. Excuse me. There was going to be no shot that WWE was going to be hosting one of the big 5 PLEs outside of North America, which included the United States and Canada, which again nobody wanted it, nobody wanted to see it, but here we are. This sparked, again going back to the idea of the controversy with this being taking place in Riyadh. Where does that lead NXT? Where does that lead their big show, Stand and Deliver? Where does that lead the Hall of Fame? WWE World, which is basically their WrestleMania Access event. Excuse me. Where does that leave WrestleMania 44, which will be 2020 in 2028? Where does that lead to? Where does it all lead to? Well, apparently, as far as NXT and Stand and Deliver go, Apparently, there have been some rumors swirling around that they are going to be hosting Stand and Deliver, potentially inside the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which some people are expecting that to happen, but others are under the belief that they may host it at they may host it the week prior to WrestleMania. Excuse me, potentially somewhere in North America, which could be in Chicago, in New York City, could be in Orlando. Excuse me. Some people are expecting NXT Stand and Deliver to take place, potentially in Toronto, which I know that's something that a lot of fans have been clamoring for quite some time, actually. In fact, I think the last time NXT did a show in Toronto was actually Heatwave last year, 2024. Yeah, I believe it was 2024 last year, where NXT had Heatwave in Toronto. So the fact that NXT is in a bit of a conundrum with their big events, Stand and Deliver. This also sparks the controversy of the Hall of Fame, because obviously you guys know over the years there have been at least 24 women who have gotten inducted into the Hall of Fame. Women like Trish Stratus, women like Lita, women like Jacqueline, the Bella Twins, Stacy Keibler, Tori Wilson, Queen Sharmell, just to name a few. Maybe potentially they could host the Hall of Fame potentially the night before SmackDown, which rumors have it that they're going to be hosting SmackDown in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia at that time. Again, as of right now, it's still too early to predict the match card for WrestleMania in Riyadh. It's still too early to predict the card for Stand and Deliver. It's too early to predict who will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's still too early. But there is one thing that I'm sure most of us can agree on, and it's the fact that there's going to be a lot of fans who will be under the impression that WrestleMania 43 could potentially go down in history as the most boring WrestleMania of all time. Because again, as I stated, you guys know WrestleMania has has to be a big event, a big spectacle, filled with history, history making moments, impactful returns, impactful debuts, guest stars randomly showing up. The possibilities are always out there when it comes to WrestleMania. And if you guys remember this past year, back in April, we saw, speaking of debuts, we saw the WrestleMania debut of the then TNA World Champion Joe Hendry, and he did battle with Randy Orton in a very interesting matchup, to say the very least. But some people will consider 43 to be a boring WrestleMania. Some will consider it to be a fun WrestleMania. Honestly, depending on what the card will look like, it can go either way. But I will say that as we get closer and closer to next year's WrestleMania, which will be back in Las Vegas, I can honestly say that next year's WrestleMania will definitely be as impactful as last year's WrestleMania. But this Saturday we have WrestlePalooza, and with the new Wi-Fi router that my grandmother decided to get because she's so damn petty. I don't know if I'll be able to watch. It'll be a bit interesting. I'm still waiting on my PSA submissions to come back. Right now, it's still they're still in the processing stage. Which I believe shouldn't take no more than another like 5 or 6 days at best. And then I believe after that it should be smooth sailing from there. It shouldn't take no more than 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe potentially up to 5 weeks before I get those submissions back. So I will be selling those cards. And I found out as far as PSA's upcharge goes, I found out that the upcharge goes by the value of the card when it's graded. So because that my Ghost Rare will have the potentiality of being a PSA 9, I will potentially have to pay up to I think it's up to I think up to $9 or it's $9 or $50 or something like that. So for both cards, which is my Ghost Rare Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon and my Secret Rare Elemental Hero Magma-Neos, I believe I should be paying up to about I think like $100 for both, which is my upcharge. Excuse me, but we'll see. We'll see. I think that might be the case, but then again, I think it goes by the the value of the card raw. I don't know. If you guys have ever gotten your cards graded through PSA and you guys know about the upcharge, let me know down in the comments below. But going back on topic. Yeah, WrestlePalooza, it will be this Saturday. The new Wi-Fi modem is going to be a little interesting. WrestleMania 43 in Riyadh will be interesting because I know that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia want to see Shawn Michaels get back in the ring. He chose to decline the offer, and I believe the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have also wanted to see the Rock get back in the ring as well, but he just posted on social media within the last couple weeks that he's retiring the Final Boss, the Final Boss character, which I mean he's admitted that he's now going to be making movies for himself. He's going to be putting all of his focus on making movies, which could potentially mean that he might step down as the head of the board of directors in TKO, which is possible, very possible, but we'll have to wait and see. But again, it is still too early to predict WrestleMania 43, but it's going to be interesting, and I have a feeling that WrestleMania 43 might turn out to be a bit different compared to what others may believe. But with that being said, that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more WWE topic videos in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.